Hello Wolfpack, we're going to be using historical trends in this video, using previous price action to try and predict future price action. And before I get into this video, the last time I did this type of video where I kind of used kind of cyclical theory to predict price action, people kind of hated the video a little bit. I want you to keep an open mind here, because this is not a prediction, it's merely pointing out data. Okay, I'm not predicting. You guys know what my prediction is, and if for those of you who don't know, maybe it's your first time watching my videos, at 60k or around 60k, I predicted we're going down to 25k on Bitcoin. We've currently gone down to 35k just a couple of months later, right? So it's been playing out pretty prominently and pretty well. But my prediction is completely separate from what's going on here. And what I want to look at here is historical trends on Bitcoin. And what we can see, and what I've pointed out in the last video I made on this topic, is that, and this is pretty compelling in my opinion. I think people like to play it off a little bit, but I think it's very compelling, right? Between the 2013 high and the 2017 high, we had about 1,400 days, okay? Between the 2017 high, okay, and the 2021 high, and I think we can all agree that the high is in, at least for now, okay? Regardless of if bullish or bearish, I think that the high is in, right? But a lot of people would believe it's a bear market now. You'd be kind of crazy not to, but that's not an insult on anyone who doesn't, right? But I'm just saying, you know, over a 50% drop from all-time highs seems like a bear market, or at least a short-term bearish phase. We can agree on that. That's another 1,400 days. So immediately there's a pattern forming here. And I know 2 sample points is a coincidence, not a pattern. I'm well aware of that. But the point is, we have to note that this cycle here was the first halving cycle on Bitcoin, and after the halving, we'll notice this pattern started forming. So we have 1,400 days from both the highs, and then if we take the bottoms here, we can see we had a bottom here in January 2015, and we'll measure that to the bottom of 2018, and we can see 1,400 days comes up again, and then from the January bottom in 2018, and we measure that all the way to the supposed bottom, right, the bottom that we might be having, we're looking at about 1,400 days. Once again, that's going to take us into late November, right? And that's where, according to this trend, the bottom should be. That's not my personal prediction. I mean, it kind of was. It kind of still is a little bit. If I had to guess a day in which Bitcoin's going to bottom out, I would have said November this year. However, obviously the stock market drop has sped things up a lot, and so I don't know if it's going to take that long anymore. I'm not really too confident on that, but if we see November, hey, this trend is very much proven at that point. So that's what I brought up in this last video, and that doesn't really seem like a lot of evidence, and a lot of people kind of backlash against that, but I want to make it abundantly clear that this is not a prediction, it's just presenting information. And I have more information to add to this now. So if that wasn't enough for you to agree that there's some sort of trend forming with 1,400 days keeps coming up from top to top and bottom to bottom, and the 4-year cycle is still very much alive because of that. Another thing I'd like to bring up is the fact that from bottom to top, right, from 2015 bottom, and we're going to measure this out right now, hold on one second, the 2015 bottom to the 2017 top, we had a number of days which was 1,064 days, okay? And then, surprisingly here, from the 2018 bottom to the 2021 top, we had the exact same number of days here on Bitcoin. And so at this point, you have to start to wonder if this is a little bit more than a coincidence. Let's go over what we found. We found that from top to top and top to top again, 1,400 days, okay? And then we also found that from bottom to bottom and bottom to bottom again, 1,400 days. And then on top of that, we found that from bottom to top and bottom to top, there's 1,064 days on Bitcoin. I'm just bringing this up. I'm just bringing it out there. If this trend continues, what we should be seeing on Bitcoin, right, is a bottom out in November. And this isn't my prediction. It's just based off of this trend. It very well may get invalidated, especially with the haste of this drop, okay? So a drop to November, we bottom out in November, and then the all-time high on Bitcoin, the next all-time high will be reached, or the next cyclical top will be reached in October 2025. Okay, and that will be the top of the next cycle, and it'd probably look something like this. Okay, that is what we're looking at for Bitcoin according to this trend. Let's see if it plays out. It's not a prediction, presenting the data. I'm going to save this chart. I'm going to keep track of it and bring it up in a video about once every month. I think it's pretty compelling. A lot of people would disagree with me. They think historical trends is a bunch of BS. I understand why you think that. However, it is very clear that Bitcoin has a cyclical theory. In my opinion, that is a 4-year cycle variant. I don't think it's necessarily lengthening cycles. I think it's I think lengthening cycles depends on what you mean by that. Okay, if you think that we're going to top out later and later and later, I don't think that's what it means. I think that it just means the bull market's going to start earlier and become more drawn out rather than top out later and later and later. And this trend shows that pretty clearly. I mean, 1,400 beats from top to top, and then from top to top again, and then 1,400 from bottom to bottom, and bottom to bottom again, and then 1,064 from bottom to top, bottom to top. Okay, so if the top was in November, we'd be more inclined to believe that that wasn't a lengthened cycle. That was actually just for 4-year cycle theory continuing onwards. And hence, my original predictions from earlier in 2021 were correct in terms of on a fundamental level, not in terms of a price level, right? There wasn't the blow of top, but we still topped out at the expected date according to the cyclical theory. So, look, it's worth keeping a look at. It's not a prediction, as I said. I think we'll bottom out, a little bit faster than that due to the haste in the market right now. But who knows? It could be very drawn out, and it could take until November. It could very well take until November. Let's see what happens. I'll keep an eye on it. I think this is a lot more compelling now that we've added in these 2 extra data points rather than the last video. So that's 6 kind of pretty compelling data points here. And yes, it's still very scarce in terms of data, but in order for a coincidence to happen this many times, it's going to be very, very unlikely. And so we have to be inclined to believe there is a trend playing out here. And there's definitely some sort of coding behind the Bitcoin cyclical theory. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll catch you in the next one.